Hey, hello, good night, and welcome to another class. So let's make sure that everything is working fine. Give me a second here. Hello, hello, testing, testing. Hey, hello, good night. Okay, everything looks fine. So today we're gonna keep answer our questions, and we're gonna do this number 10. Let me copy it. I already created a file, so save us some time here. Let me add the question. Oh, sorry, here. So this question is another example that I try to bring from the real life, where we need to read the buy price, the cost of a product, the desired profit percentage, so it's exactly the one that we did before, and the sale tax. So one thing that I like to share that is very common when you are starting your job to do incremental thing or little fix. So this is something that could happen. A company already have a functionality that you just need to add something new. So you have to navigate the existing code and find where you need to add in a new thing. So in this case, as we can see, from here up to here is the same as the previous question. We just have this. Let me make it this way. I just changed the example to have one extra value, that is the tax. In real life, two things is guaranteed: death and tax. Is a joke that some movies talk about. So every company that is selling or is selling stuff has to deal with tax. So it's something very common that you're going to learn. Is sometimes it's very simple, sometimes it's very complex. For example, the tax in Brazil is way more complex than tax in Canada and US. There is way more rules, way more details. Sometimes it depends the road that the product passed, the states, and there is a lot of extra thing. And I know that because I had experience to work in a ERP, and I have to kind of learn a lot about tax because I was building a system to deal with that. And for a company survival, I guess everywhere, but mostly like in Brazil, in other countries, they have to be very good and deal with tax because that is what's going to determine if they're going to really make money or not. Because sometimes you have the impression that, oh, I make a lot of money, but if you don't account for tax, you're going to be in trouble. In this case, it's very simple because there is a lot of rules, a lot of variables that we have to consider before we calculate the tax. In this case, someone is going to give us already the sales tax. So in a real company, usually we have a service that you're going to provide some data, what type of product, the price, the state, maybe the city, municipality, and then some maybe extra information. And then you're going to get for that specific product, in that particular case, how much is the tax percentage. Is that why it's very important to know about percentage because it's used a lot in business. So what I do here, not sure if it's a very good idea, but I will copy exactly what we have in the previous class. Because sometimes you need to do that. Of course, in a real situation, we would expand this. So you start from this baseline, and then your job is to add the new thing. You need to calculate, to get and calculate the sales tax. So the reason I'm showing this is because probably your first exposure to coding will be doing something like this. You're going to be hired for a company and they're going to start to trust you in baby steps. So they're going to select a test that is kind of like easy for the beginning. It's very rare to someone start just doing like something like huge. You start a little bit. So you need to understand how to navigate. Someone is going to mentor you, say, oh, do you know we already have this functionality here, here's the code. As you can see, we are reading those values, doing this calculation. Now I need you to add the text. So it's very important that we can understand. So in this case, what we do is we are already getting the buy price, the cost. We are already calculating the desired profit percentage. And now what we need to do is, we need to get the sales tax as well. Okay, and then there is some details that is not here, but I want you ask to consider, okay, when we're going to apply this final tax? Is the original buying cost or after we apply the profit? So I'm not going to go in details that one, but it's something that we need to ask business. We as software engineers, we cannot take the risk to assume, I must do this way. I think this is the way, because we are build a solution for someone, for some things, for our business, and you have to make sure that the business is aligned with reality. Because if you do some mistake, bad assumption, you can just cause trouble for your company. So let me do this. Let me go to this guy program. You make sure that we are running that example. That is the question 10, and then I will comment this one. So one thing that happened is like many other things. For example, when an author start to write a book, they don't have the entire book in their mind. Maybe an artist is doing a sculpture, they don't know all the details. They start to do, and then they start to analyze and improve and review and then find the details until you have the final product, the book or wherever you are building. So in this case, as we can see, okay, what I will do is I already have the part to get the buying price, to get desired profit. And now I need to add another part to get the tax percentage, sales tax percentage. So I can change this variable here. Let's change the sales tax percentage. If I want to go short, I can do this as well. I will change here, and here I change as well. I change this variable name as well, sales tax percentage. And now, I'm gonna use that to make sure that to remove that warning that, okay, trust me, the user will always give something, so this will never be no. We're gonna learn how to do that in a better way later on. So what's changing now? That on top of the cost and the profit, we already have the sales price. However, pay attention that the sales price is the cost plus the profit. So the question comes is, okay, when do we apply the sales? What I mean to say is that we already have the cost and the profit. But where should I apply the tax? Should I apply the profit, the cost, how much I bought, or should I apply by how much I'm gonna sell it? Depending on the type of a product, that can change, but it's very common to the government want to get the money based on how much you are making. So depending on the business, what you are doing, sales or product, the tax should be on top of the profit, or could be based on the cost, or could be based on how much you are making, even for the money that you are not putting in your pocket. So the point here is this question, this requirement is not clear enough about that. So it's very common for us in the daily work to get something like this and say, well, this is not clear, because sometimes for the business person that is obvious and they don't put in the requirement. And we are just start working in a new company, I had to realize, okay, where should I apply that sales tax? Should be in the final amount, how much I'm gonna sell, or based on the profit that I'm doing. So depend of the rule. For today class, let's apply for the sales price. Doesn't matter how much you put in that, because imagine something like this, where you could be in trouble. If you buy a product for maybe like 100, and you only want to make like 5%. So you sell for 1.5. Imagine the sales tax is 20%. If the 20% is applied for the total, you're going to be losing money because you're going to be working to pay the government. So is that why tax is very complicated? And actually, let's change a little bit. Let's apply based on the profit. So how much money you are putting in your pocket, you're going to get a percentage of that and give to the government. You need to charge your customer that amount so you can collect the money and then pay your your debt to the government. Every company has a big department that is for tax only because it's an interesting thing. The government don't tell you all the details. You have to be able to calculate your tax, collect the money, and pay it. The fun thing is, if you don't pay correctly, the government is going to find out and charge you fees on top of that. So they already know how much you should pay. So it could be easy as the point, okay, this is what I'm selling. Tell me how much I have to pay. Most of the accounts that I know is up to the company to know the rules. Is a tax legislation that is huge, change state by state. So if you have like a online store that sells, for example, every state in the US, you have to have a solution that can calculate the tax based on every state, depending on the product. Is something that is interesting, very complicated. So for the sake of like close to reality, let's apply the sales tax only to the profit. So this will be more fair. So you are only giving money to the government based on how much profit you are doing. Most of the cases is like that. Just to let you know, in Brazil, we have something that when you buy something to resell, the government already want to pay the tax based on how much money you're going to make in the future. It's anticipate ICMS, something like this. So I remember we have to have that some specific products or line of business. It's crazy because you pay tax even before you sell your product, even before you pocket the money. So for example, imagine that you buy products and then later on something happen, the product is stolen or you cannot sell for some reason. Then you have to go back to the government and say, oh, do you know, remember that tax I paid? I could not sell, so I want to get that money back. And if you don't know how to do that, you're going to be in trouble. Cool? So let's do this. Now that we have this extra field here telling us for this specific product, what is the percentage of the sales tax? What you need to do? Well, I need to calculate, let's put some comments here. I need to calculate this percentage apply to the profit. Do you see how nice it is to have, oh, well, let me do this. Because we are calculating the profit here, so let's do this here. How interesting to have everything that we need to calculate in a variable, because it's very common to need to reuse it. Instead of do just one full equation or expression to get the final result, it's nice to store everything that we're doing. So now what we need to do? Well, we need to apply this percentage from this variable here to this profit. So we're going to declare a variable, decimal, let's call sales tax. And how do we calculate that? We use the similar formula. So it will be profit multiplied by sales tax percentage divided by 100. So that means we have here now the amount that represents the tax on top of our profit. So now I have to move this and here I have to add a new thing that will be the sales tax, because now my sale price will be cost, profit, and sales tax. Another good idea is to break this down and maybe have this in a variable, because maybe you can try to print. Sometimes we need price before tax or something like that. So what we could do here is have another decimal called price. We can call total price before tax. So before tax will be this, because sometime in our receipt or in our invoice or wherever, we need to put that information there. It's just to let you know that that is common. So now what you can say, okay, the sale price will be before tax plus the tax amount. Cool. So one of the most complicated math we're gonna do is percentage. As long as you can understand this and validate, we can be good in math for like a software engineer. Unless you go to some advanced field, but I say that easily, like the majority of jobs out there, doesn't require math that go beyond percentage. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm breaking down all these values. So we have the sales tax, we have the same way that you calculate the profit, we have the sales tax, we have before tax, and then we could call this total price after tax. Or to match the name that was given here, I just say sales price. This is something that requires time to pick up a nice name for variables, and it's something that is very important to invest some effort on that to get some good names, because when you come back month after you build the code, the variable names can help you to understand what is going on. Instead of understanding what this math does, I can just read the variable name, total price before tax. So give me a good idea. So now what we can do is, let's break this string to make easier to read in multiple ones. So what I will do is, let me put this a flip tab here. So I will print cost only. Oh, I missed one. And then I will print in a new line profit percentage. In another line, I will print profit. In another line, I will print just the final sales price. And we could, in between here, print the tax amount, or tax percentage first. And then what we read as sales tax percentage. The next line, we can print the tax itself, like the tax amount that we calculated. So the this tax. So the sales tax. We can call this sales tax as well. And here, let's put the same as well. And at the end, we print the sales price. So one thing that we did here is we missed the step to draw the solution, and maybe it could make harder for some of you to understand it. I just skipped that because what we're doing is very similar to what we already had. So we just add a new field and a very similar calculation. Another thing that I didn't do, but it's nice to have some comments here. For example, here I could say calculating the profit. Some people don't like that because it's obvious that, oh, this is a variable called profit, so that is easy to understand that we are calculated here. So some people prefer to not have those comments, and some prefer, depend where you are. I know that it's important to have comments in some case, but ideally your code should be easy enough to follow without many extra comments. But sometimes there is a hacking, something that worth to have a comment. So I not say should not have a lot of, like, for example, here, I am declare a variable profit that is going to store the cost multiplied by percentage divided by 100. That is not a nice comment because it's basically what anyone is going to pick up reading this. Okay, so there is an art, and like it's going to take time until you start to write a nice comment. But initially, it's better to have your code in a way that your variables, your logic, explain itself. So in this case, it's simple enough that we don't need any extra comment. Okay, so now let's see if what we did makes sense. Never trust whatever you're building without test, because it's very easy to do little mistakes here, change variable names and things like that. Is going to happen and happen all the time. And let's put a breakpoint, for example, here to see, oh, not here. I'm going to put after the first, let's read this. And let's debug. To test the happy path, it's very important that we provide values that is easy for us. For example, I'm gonna buy something for 100. I want to have 50% of profit, so it'll be like 50, because 50% of 100 is 50. And I'll tell that the sales tax is 10%. So 10% of 50 is 5. So I can easily see if my calculation is doing well. So I can see that the profit is there, it's 50. Let's calculate the total price before tax, so it'll be 150. And then let's calculate our sales price. So the sales tax will be 5, it's 10% of 50. And now we're going to calculate the sales price, and then we're going to print everything. Sometimes it's better to just run and see the result. I was just debugging to show you what is going on, but let's see. We bought something for 100. We want to make 50% of that. Is a very high percentage, but sometimes happen. And for that particular product, we need to pay 10%. 10% of our profit. So the cost, oh, look, I did some mistake here. Like some place I'm using 2 dots, other one I'm using equals. So just to make sure that everything is follow the same pattern, like for constants, let's put this. All this will be like this. So we bought for 100. We want 50% of profit. The sale tax is 10%, so it'll be 10% of our profit, that is 5, and then we have to sell to 155. And I have to make sure to not spend this $5. Is that why every company has to have an account? I work for Intuit in account solution. That is a very important thing. What QuickBooks does is help you to do the accounting and prepare for tax. Because if you spend this money, by the end of the month or the quarter of the year, you have to pay this money to the government. And if that money is not with you anymore, you're going to be in trouble. Big trouble. Okay, so now let's do some other tests to see if it makes sense. Because sometimes the happy path works, but some different does not. For example, we buy something for 510. And we want 10%. And then the sale tax is 20%. So just to try to give like a high level. So 10% of 510 is 51. So 51, 20% will be something around a little bit over 10. So we have an idea what should be there. I will remove this breakpoint and let's see. So as we can see here, sales tax will be 10.2, and then makes sense what we're doing. One thing that we should never fail is to spend appropriate time to validate what you build, because you will see here during our thing that we're going to do a lot of mistakes. There is no one that is going to write code without doing mistake. It's like when someone is writing a book, there is no one, never happened in history, someone that wrote a book by hand and said, it's done. There is a process to review, to refine, to improve, to fix, to make simpler, to increment, to reduce, to expand, depend what I try to do. And even that, every book out there in the market, there are mistakes. Every book, sometimes there is a appendix that is added after that the print show, there is mistake in this line, mistake in this line, mistake in this line. It's called errata. And coding is not different. It's a different kind of language, but it's the same. We are expressing ideas. We are expressing expression. And it's very common to do some mistakes. And trust me, we're going to deal with that in many, many places. So I'm not going to do here to not spend too much time, but for real, we'll have to build a massive amount of tests to make sure that provide, for example, let's run this here and let's see, even looks like our product is nice. For example, I could say here, oh, I bought this for 500. And by mistake, someone typed here, the desired profit minus 20. Say, well, profit minus 20 means we're going to be losing 20. And that could be possible because sometimes you buy something for a price, you sell a lot of product, but then there is a few left items that is not sold. And sometimes you take that as a loss. You say, okay, I want to even lose something. Sales tax will never be negative because the government will never be pay you to do business. It's going to receive. So we need to add all those validation. We're going to learn how to do that later on. We don't have the resource right now, but we could have someone mistype or minus 50%. And look what we're going to say. We're going to buy something for 500. We're going to take 20% off, and then we're going to pay minus 50. So that we're going to reverse something. So we're going to sell for 450. So this is a bug because we didn't avoid the situation, but we don't have the resource yet. So up to the next month, a few weeks, we're going to be learning how to fix those things to make sure that the values are correct. So we're going to do some testing, and if it's not what I expect, we just throw away or try again. So the idea for this quest was just to show you that it's very common to go to existing problem just to do some little increments. So is that why I need to know what we're reading? Because when we're going to use AI, sometime AI, we ask to add something new, and this happens all the time. And what happened is AI recreate everything else. So if you are just adding a new functionality, and without need, you are changing existing code, that is not be well seen. So whoever is going to review your solution will ask, why did you change what was there already? We just ask you to add something new. Sometimes AI asks copy solution from existing other source. AI can think, oh, I can do this completely different. For me, it's fast. I just dump everything there and just take it. So that is something that we need to pay attention when you're going to review the output of our AI prompting. So, because a good work, you just add the extra. Only what is needed to add the new functionality or to change or to fix the bug. Cool. So actually, I'm like with a huge jet lag. I was 17 days in Japan, and it's like 16 hours different. And so I thought I would be solving like 3 questions today, but I'm already feel like kind of tired. So I finished the class today here, just 1 question, but I guess it was good enough, and I hope you enjoy it. So thank you for participating. God bless you. See you next class. just one question, but I guess it was good enough, and I hope you enjoy it. So